Welcome to today's presentation. I am a corporate pleb, and this is How to Corporate. Today we'll be reviewing a specific situation in sales where winning is not even on the table, the no-win sales pitch. If you are in a client-facing role where you sell anything, sooner or later you will encounter a sales situation that you recognize as being utterly pointless. A sales pitch that is over before it begins, during the pitch, or immediately afterwards. A pitch that is a waste of your time, energy, and resources in utter lost cause. This is a no-win sales pitch. There's nothing you can gain. This is not the same as a sales pitch where you have a legitimate opportunity to try for business and end up losing. No, this is a sales situation where you have zero chance of winning from the get-go. Sometimes before you even pitch, it is already a loss. A no-win sales pitch typically will come in three flavors. One option is you screw up. Another option is you are simply being used by the client. And then the final one typically is that you got nothing. You don't have anything for the client and they know it and you know it going into it. Let's look at the worst one first. The gut punch. The one where you or your colleague screws up. This one can happen before, during, or immediately after a demonstration or pitch. Usually it happens with a social faux pas or a foolish mistake. The best way to illustrate this is with a personal anecdote where I witnessed a sales rep standing in front of a room full of people on the client's end on site at their location, completely ruin his pitch before he even began by mispronouncing the client's name. The moment he said their company's name wrong, all smiles in the room dropped at once. The entire room shifted attitude, and the chair of the room corrected the sales rep on how to say the name of the company he was there to try and sell to. It was ugly. The moment that name was mispronounced, the sales rep had lost the deal. There was no coming back from that mistake. The sales rep had screwed himself and his team so completely with a single word that $250,000 in potential sale fell to zero inside of about 3 seconds. It is very easy in corporate to screw something up beyond repair with a single mistake. Sometimes your attempt to win business via a sales pitch will be used dishonestly by what you perceive to be a potential client. Sometimes you will be used as a ringer. You will be seen as nothing more than a tool used for leverage by your potential client as something they can pressure their current provider with. As in, you are a threat a client can use to get their way with an existing relationship. If their provider doesn't bend to their will, the client will engage in a relationship with you, and it's all the same to them. The goal, of course, is for the potential client, or rather what you see as the potential client, it's for them to get a better deal with their existing vendor for a product or service. The client has no real intention of going with you, but if they can't get their way with their current vendor, they can use you as a threat and they might be able to go with you in the long run. For cases where you're being used as a threat to an existing relationship, you will not have a real chance of winning. The type of client that would even set up this type of elaborate threat against an existing vendor is a client savvy enough to have done their homework. They know that they don't want you. They want to use you as a threat to the vendor they have and want to keep, but are negotiating for a cheaper rate. This is all at your expense too. You'll end up going through the motions only and will not have any real opportunity to win the business. But that's the point. You're not there to get the business, you're there to threaten a relationship between two other businesses. From your company's standpoint, though, you'll have to press onward even though you know you're being used and have no chance because on paper you still have to at least try. There will be times when you walk into a pitch and know that your competition or the incumbent that you were trying to replace for a good or services has everything better than you. They have everything better, cheaper than you, flashier than you. You will ask yourself if you can actually be a value add to the client, and almost everything you encounter will confirm that you can't even come close to giving this client equal to what they get today, let alone bettering it by tomorrow. So what happens when you have one of these lost cause pitches sort of show up on your doorstep and you have to roll with it? Well, the bottom line is you still get to do the pitch. You still have to do it and know full well as you're doing it that it is already a throwaway pitch. You get to fulfill your duty and obligation and follow through with the swing for the fences, even though you already heard the ball hit the catcher's gloved hand. You can't say never mind. Even though in a lost cause pitch you have no chance of winning, you still effectively have to suck it up and do what you came to do, even though you and the client and everyone else who's paying attention understands this to be a completely pointless endeavor. Remember, you, the bottom of the totem pole pleb in corporate life, the person with no authority, with no autonomy or agency to call the shots, you're put in a situation that you might recognize as being completely futile, but you don't have the power to call it a wash. So you get to do it. You still get to do the pointless pitch knowing that it's pointless. It's painful, it's humiliating, it generally ends up being pretty cringy, but it's one of those many grit your teeth and bear it scenarios that you get to suffer at the bottom of the corporate hierarchy. The silver lining is that every single sales rep in the history of sales had to pitch through a losing game. So all you can really do as a corporate pleb with no power is really just take solace in the solidarity of experiencing a prepackaged loss alongside every other real sales rep in the world. It's part of the role and a requirement to consider yourself a professional corporate salesperson. Every single person in sales at one point or another is going to experience and have to power through one of these losing pitches, even though they know it's a complete waste of everybody's time. Unfortunately, that's just the way things roll, and in corporate life, again, you don't always get to do what you want. Most of the times you just get to do what you're told or what you're expected to do. And in the case of a sort of no-win situation, sales presentation or demo, it's one of those things where you simply just get to power on through and be professional. Unfortunately, being professional in many cases means you just have to put up with some sort of nonsense. The real sad thing is that when you're going into one of these no-win sales situations, the time ahead of you typically will be about an hour plus of you spinning your wheels on a subject, product, service that nobody wants, nobody needs, nobody's going to get from you for one reason or another. And you just get to eat up that time. The whole time you have to still remain professional and get through it. So even if you screw up at the beginning, or even if you're being used as sort of a changeling or a swap out for an existing vendor or relationship, or even if you come in and you have absolutely nothing to offer, the point is you're already locked into the demo. The demo's happening. It's corporate inertia. You're going to be doing it one way or another. So you might as well buckle up, settle into the no-win sales pitch, and just get the process done for the sake of the company. Sometimes that's what's expected of you. even though it sucks, but anyone in sales is going to have to do that. Thank you for joining me. Please come back and explore the corporate world from the standpoint of a common worker pleb at any time. See you soon.